On December 3rd, the morning of Karthigai Deepam in Thiruparankundram looked like it always does. Pilgrims drifting in, vendors settling into the usual spots, the town waking up to a rhythm it knows really well. Karthigai Deepam is the Tamil festival of lights, primarily celebrated by Hindus by lighting oil lamps in households and temples. But this year, something felt different. In the middle of all that familiar bustle, a new uneasy choreography was playing out. Vehicles bearing BJP flags lined the roads, and clusters of men in saffron scarves gathered near tea stalls. There were two arches on the way up to the hill and to the temple, and police barricades were placed throughout the area. Our reporter Abhishek Vijayan was on the ground reporting the events as they unfolded. The hill is home to two important religious sites. One is the Subramanya Swamy temple, which is considered one of the 6 sacred abodes or Arupadai Veedu of Hindu god Murugan. The second is the Hazrat Sultan Sikandar Bacha Dargah, a Sufi Islamic shrine built around the tomb of the saint. For years now, these sites and the devotees have coexisted peacefully, with occasional minor scuffles.
எல்லா முஸ்லிமே எல்லாருமே நாங்க எல்லாம் ஒண்ணா தான் இருக்காங்க. இங்க இதுவரையில இவ்வளவு மத கலவரம் மாதிரி எந்த பிரச்சனையும் வந்தது கிடையாது.
நாங்களும் எப்பயும் போல ஒற்றுமையா தான் இருக்கோம். அவங்க வேலையை பார்ப்பாங்க, நாங்க எங்க வேலையை பார்ப்பாங்க.
நானும் ஒன்று சின்ன பிள்ளையிலேருந்து ஒன்றா தான் தெரியுறேன். அவங்க வீட்டு விசேஷத்துக்கு நாங்கள் இருப்போம், எங்கள் வீட்டு விசேஷத்துக்கு அவங்க இருப்பாங்க.
So what changed this year?
ஆனால் இந்துக்களுக்கு மட்டும் ஏன் இப்படி பண்ணுறாங்கன்னு தெரியல. இந்த தமிழக அரசு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கிறிஸ்மஸ் அன்னைக்கு அவங்களோட கேக் இனிக்கின்றாங்க, ரம்ஜான் அன்னைக்கு அவங்க பிரியாணி சுவைக்கின்றாங்க, ஆனால் விநாயகர் சதுர்த்தி கொலக்கட்டை மட்டும் கசக்குன்னு சொல்கிறாங்க.
The current conflict didn't begin with the Deepam festival. It began earlier this year in January with a very different issue: animal sacrifice at the Dargah. The Deepam conflict was an extension of that. In addition, a December 1st Madras High Court direction by Justice G.R. Swaminathan that Deepam should be lit at the peak of the hill enthused BJP and other right-wing organizations like Hindu Munnani and the VHP, and they mobilized in large numbers. The issue has now snowballed into India Bloc MPs asking to move an impeachment motion against Justice Swaminathan. So why did this order become controversial? And how was this unrest organized? Let me explain. There are many ways to report news. You can chase headlines, recycle sound bites, and just move on. Or you can slow down, dig deeper, and try to understand what's actually happening beneath the noise. If you've been following the News Minute, you know which route we take. And even with the issue of Thiruparankundram, we've done exactly that. For the last 10 months, my colleague Sudipto sifted through court and historical documents, spoke to residents, lawyers, government officials, and other stakeholders trying to understand what the real contention is. And he also stripped the politics and the posturing. And when December 3rd and 4th unfolded, our young colleague Abhishek was on the ground speaking to people, tracking events in real time and piecing together what exactly happened. This kind of reporting takes time, patience, and a willingness to resist easy narratives. It's the only way to understand nuance. With Tamil Nadu heading into elections next year, expect more of this kind of work from us. But as we keep saying, we can't do this without your support. So if you want journalism like this, then do support us. Scan this QR code on your screen and contribute to Let Me Explain. You can contribute with any amount of your choice. Alternatively, you can become subscribers of the News Minute and News Laundry. Thiruparankundram Hill is not just any place. It's considered a sacred landscape. At the foot lies the temple. On the lower peak sits a Shiva temple and the Uchapillayar temple. At the very top stands the Dargah. Tombs dot the flag Nellithopu below the peak. This is a space that has been used by both communities. There have been disputes about the name of the hill and the Jain shrines in the hill, but they have already been settled by many court orders. For many decades now, the customary Karthigai Deepam has been lit near the Uchappillayar temple by the temple management and not at the hill's peak. But this year, a petitioner went to the High Court on November 7th, demanding that the lamp be lit at a stone pillar on the upper peak, which they call Deepatun. Though Deepatun literally means lamp pillar, retired officials and archival records say that this specific structure is a British-era theodolite stone, a survey marker and not a ritual lamppost. The case was listed before Justice G.R. Swaminathan, who's been criticized for his past views that align with right-wing politics. He has also attended RSS events, raised doubts about the originality of Indian Constitution and has been in many other controversies. In this case, he was tasked with just one question. Can the court order the temple management to light the Deepam at the stone pillar as well? Earlier High Court and Division Court bench orders held that the courts cannot interfere in such matters. But on December 1st, Justice Swaminathan ruled otherwise. He said worshippers have a right not only to what is, but what ought to be, and directed the temple management to light the lamp at both places on the day of festival, that's December 3rd. That is, on the usual spot near the Pillayar temple and at the stone pillar. The temple soon filed an appeal, but it was found to be in a defective format. Saying that the temple cannot be said to be aggrieved by the order at all, Justice Swaminathan called the appeal a ruse to avoid compliance. Simultaneously, at Thiruparankundram, large crowds gathered, not organic, but organized and mobilized. For those accustomed to the coexistence of both the temple and the dargah, it was immediately apparent that this year's festival had acquired a new political charge. At around 11:45 in the morning, BJP Youth Wing President S.G. Surya arrived and told the media this is every Hindu's dream. Like I said earlier, Justice Swaminathan's order intensified the narrative that lighting the Deepam at the peak was restoration of a tradition. By mid-afternoon, mobilization became very visible. Loudspeakers started echoing instructions on where to stand, how to move, rather than playing devotional music. Saffron-clad activists from across the state clustered at strategic points along the climb. A Sangh functionary had confidently estimated that about 1,000 people were positioned across the temple complex. He framed their turnout as a natural response to the court's decision. But the logistics and the volume of people suggested something completely different. District-level WhatsApp chains, Padyatra networks, and party messaging systems were clearly at work. The state government now blocked the crowd, saying that there was a clear risk that the path to the stone pillar at the peak ran dangerously close to the dargah compound. And opening it, especially with such an influx of outsiders, risked turning a festival into a communal flashpoint. As the hour of the ceremony neared, something in the crowd's energy clearly changed. The chants grew sharper, the crowd at the barricades denser. And soon, the idea of lighting the lamp at the upper pillar wasn't just a devotional anticipation. It had the weight of a political demand. When officials proceeded to light the lamp at the Uchappillayar temple, as they have done for a long time now, the atmosphere hardened. Then the crowd started chanting slogans praising Bharat Mata. It was followed by accusations that the state government was suppressing Hindu rights. While the tensions were escalating at the foot of the hill, at around 5 p.m., the petitioners moved a contempt petition. But the judge accepted the state's argument that it was premature to initiate contempt because the lamps are usually lit around 6 p.m. At 6, the temple management lit the lamp, but not at the stone pillar like the petitioners demanded and the court ordered, but at the usual spot. At 6:05, contempt proceedings were initiated. The judge said that fundamental rights of the petitioner and the rule of law is at stake, and the state administration decided to cock a snook at the court's order. He added that he did not order the execution of anybody or demolition of any building, and that defying the order had no irreversible consequence that would send a bad signal. He also directed the CISF to escort the petitioners up the hill and warned of harsh consequences if the police failed to comply, a development that the right-wing group's quickly spun into a narrative of judicial endorsement. The petitioners reached the hill steps that were blocked. Officers told them that prohibitory orders were now in force and no climb would be allowed. Tension spiked. Party workers clashed with the police here as well, leading to injuries and several detentions. At 6:45, things started to escalate. S.G. Surya attempted to cross the barricade and invoked his right to worship. This was a pivotal moment in the mobilization. His detention didn't land as a simple police action. It rippled through the crowds almost instantly, sparking cries of discrimination and accusations that authorities were targeting Hindus, with some even asking if this was India or Pakistan. On paper, the contempt order permitted only a small group of petitioners to go up. On the ground, it looked nothing like that. Large groups were waiting to push toward the top, and every attempt to advance triggered yet another round of clashes. Even as these confrontations unfolded, ordinary devotees continued trying to make the climb. For years, this had been a familiar festival climb. Now, it felt as though they'd walked into a controlled, almost combative zone. Even the temple's chariot procession, which normally moves peacefully through the town, was halted and redirected. By 9:30 p.m., the climb remained closed, crowds thin, and the hill settled into an uneasy quiet. On December 4th, the pattern repeated. Right-wing groups returned, slogans sharpened, and senior BJP leaders, including State President Nayanar Nagendran, were detained.
எங்க அப்பா காலத்துல அந்த தீபத்தூண்ல தீபம் எரியறத பார்க்க முடியல, எங்க தாத்தா காலத்துல பார்க்க முடியல. அதனால 100 வருடங்கள் கழித்து நான் ஒரு இளைஞன், முருகன் மேல எனக்கு அதிகம் ஒரு பக்தி இருக்கு. நாங்க அந்த தீபத்தூண்ல தீபம் ஏத்தணும் அப்படின்றதுல இதுல எங்க மதவெறி வரப்போகுது, இதுல எங்க கலவரம் வரப்போகுது. இப்ப பாரதிய ஜனதா கட்சியில நான் பயணிக்கிறனால மதவெறி அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. அப்ப நாங்க திருப்புரம்புன்ற கோவில்ல தீபத்தூண்ல தீபம் ஏத்தாட்டா இல்ல திமுகல இருக்கவங்க யாராவது ஏத்தட்டும், இல்ல மத்த கட்சியில இருக்கவங்க மதிமுகல இருந்தாலும் எனக்கு மேல்முறையீடு பண்ணிருக்காங்க. இவங்களாம் ஏத்துனாங்கன்னா நாங்க கூட சேர்ந்து சப்போர்ட் பண்ணுவோம்ல. பிஜேபி மட்டும்தான் என்னைக்குமே இந்துக்களுக்கு சப்போர்ட்டா இருக்குது.
Now, why were the orders passed by Justice G.R. Swaminathan so controversial? First, it enters the center of a century-old, highly sensitive Hindu-Muslim dispute over the hill's ownership and customary rights, a conflict previously settled by the Privy Council in 1931, which granted both sides clearly demarcated rights. The insistence that the Deepam must be lit at the peak is seen by many as reopening a delicate religious balance. Second, critics argue that Justice Swaminathan's order reshapes a locally accepted religious custom without evidence and bypassing earlier precedents.
One Tyagarajan filed writ petition on the very same prayer, on the very same hillock that was rejected by specifically saying peace and tranquility should not be disturbed. That is the division bench order. Now single judge has passed the order. Government should implement the division bench order of the High Court. That is the judicial hierarchy. That is the judicial discipline.
Third, the state government has argued in its counter that the Deepatun is actually a theodolite stone and not a religious site, and the path to it runs dangerously close to the dargah, raising safety and communal concerns. Fourth, using CISF to enforce a symbolic act with communal implications further blurred lines between the judicial, executive, and religious domains. The DMK government too has to answer certain questions. The latest row started in December 2024 when Muslim pilgrims were stopped from animal slaughter rituals on the hill, and the complaint was then filed with the government officer. Knowing that the BJP and the Sangh will jump on this opportunity, why did the government allow it to fester? This is a question that many progressive groups have been asking. A hill long navigated with mutual respect is now the site of a new ideological push. With the 2026 assembly elections approaching, Thiruparankundram appears less like a disputed ritual site and more like testing ground. A place where the right wing can gauge its mobilization capacity, sharpen its messaging, and attempt to manufacture a new line of communal tension in Tamil Nadu. Even the RSS chief has signaled that it is a matter of Hindu strength and it will be resolved accordingly. But for now, the Tamil Nadu government has stood its ground, making its stance absolutely clear, the controversial court order notwithstanding.